Welcome to the Veroscope analysis of the Brian Higgins cross-examination in the trial of Karen Reed, and we're going to be analysing him on the witness stand, being cross-examined by Alan Jackson, and we're also going to be examining in detail his forensic linguistics and looking for the deception or lack of deception, as the case may be, that we find during the analysis. If you're new to the trial, which you might be if you're watching from England, this is Brian Higgins. He's an ATF agent, alcohol, tobacco and firearms, and this is Karen Reed, who was accused of killing a Boston cop by the name of John O'Keefe, who was found dead on the lawn of another Boston cop, this guy here called Brian Albert. And some people believe that Karen is innocent, like the first two juries, because she was involved in two trials. The first trial was a mistrial, and the second trial she was found innocent of the death of John, but she was found guilty of drinking under the influence of alcohol. So let's carry on with the actual trial itself. We're going to be listening to around about 10 or 15 minutes, and then we'll be analysing what was said, and we'll identify if there is any deception in the cross-examination.
Mr. Higgins, to January 28, January 29, 2022. By the way, I should ask another foundational question. Are you currently still at ATF?
Am I employed by ATF?
Correct.
Yes, I am, a special agent, yes.
And what is your current billet or your assignment?
Objection.
Is that something you're free to discuss?
I'm assigned to division operations at this time.
Okay, what does that mean?
That's,
You're taken out of the field?
was I taken out of the field? Yes.
Are you no longer in the field?
Objection, Your Honor. Move to strike.
Sustained, let's move on. You may be able to come back to this.
Thank you, Your Honor. I want to turn your attention now to January 28, 29 of 2022. You recall those dates?
I do.
You've been living with those dates for the last couple of years.
Like a nightmare.
Okay. So the first thing we notice is that he's not on trial for the killing of John O'Keefe. He is a witness at this stage. But as far as he's concerned, he's been living for the last couple of years like a nightmare. That's interesting, isn't it?
John O'Keefe's body was found outside your friend Brian Albert's house on the morning of January 29th, 2022, correct?
Yes.
You've previously testified that on January 28th, you had gone to New York for this memorial service, correct?
Funeral service, yes.
The funeral service, not the memorial. You separate the two?
So, well, the wake would be the night before, funeral, I call them the services. It wasn't a memorial. Memorial to me would be more of like an annual thing. This was the services.
Understood.
Just want to be clear.
So you went with Brian Albert.
Okay, so he's sensitive about this funeral or memorial for some reason. So we would note that he gives us more information than was required, and he appears to be sensitive. He's picky about it. When someone gives further information, we put in a deceptive marker or a flag. It doesn't necessarily mean anything. For those who have been watching the Veroscope videos, we know by now that individual flags don't mean anything per se, but as we get clusters and superclusters of deceptive markers, they can start to indicate whether or not a statement is indeed deceptive. So we would put in here a flag simply because he's giving us more information than was required.
Kevin Albert and Eddie Hernandez, is that right?
I traveled down there myself, but I met up with them.
To go to the services?
Yes.
Is it fair to say that you and Brian Albert and Kevin Albert sort of run in the same social and professional circles?
I mean, without speaking for anybody else, I think we know a lot of the same people.
Go to some of the same holiday parties, for instance?
Yes.
Go to some of the same events? whether they're law enforcement events or otherwise.
Retirement parties, yes, things like that.
Might meet up at a bar and have a social drink together.
Yes.
Might share a meal together, correct?
Yes.
And you would agree that you...
Okay, so he's pleased that the trip to the memorial and funeral services seems to have bypassed Jackson. However, from the way that the linguistics occurred, I would ask whether or not that was the sole reason to go down there, because he's overly sensitive about that, or if in fact he did attend. It would be questionable in my mind.
Particularly are pretty well connected to the Canton law enforcement community.
Could you qualify that, explain that?
You know quite a few cops, right?
Well, it's a small department, so I do know everybody in the building in some capacity.
Okay, so my question is, you know quite a few cops in Canton.
I do.
You're pretty good friends with, as a matter of fact, maybe best friends with the chief of police, former chief of police, Kenny Berkowitz, correct?
Yes.
You know Brian Albert, he's a Boston police officer.
Yes.
You know his brother and work with his brother at Canton PD, correct?
Yes.
So it's fair to say, back to my original question, you're relatively well connected in the law enforcement community, the fabric of that community in Canton. Is that right?
Well, I think that comes with working with people, yes.
Is that yes or no?
So when we have the word well, not necessarily in this case, but we would note well at the beginning of a sentence is often the opportunity to buy some more thinking time. And the person says, well, and they get the extra half a second. In this case, I think it's more of a pattern of speech, but we're learning during these videos, so I'll point that out. Well is very often a deceptive marker or a reason why, and we would mark it up in blue and put in a deceptive flag.
Yes.
Okay. As a matter of fact, you've even given a personal toast at one of these events, these retirement events, etc., correct?
Chief Berkowitz, yes.
And during the course of that toast, you even said if you want to hide a body, Kenny Berkowitz is your man, correct?
Objection.
Did
That
you
was a
say
joke.
that? Did you say that?
I don't recall that.
You don't remember telling?
So the judge jumps in. Did you hear her? Did you say that? Did you say that? She can't help herself, this judge. Now, he didn't say, no, I did not say that. He said, I don't recall that. And we've learnt previously that I don't recall is less reliable than I can't recall. I can't recall, percentage-wise, is more reliable because think about the language. I can't recall. It indicates that you've attempted recollection. And sure enough, when we examine statements where we actually know the truth, percentage-wise, I can't recall is truthful more often than I don't recall, which doesn't indicate even an attempt at recollection. Here we have Higgins not give a reliable denial about this joke. Instead, he says, I don't recall, which is far softer than no, I did not say that, or even better, no, I did not say, and then the accusation. That would be far more reliable as a denial. So here we have a soft, I don't recall. We also saw his body language and facial expression in pain about this question. The prosecutor was ready for it, and so was the judge.
That joke in front of a room full of folks?
I don't.
If you want to hide a body, Kenny Berkowitz is your man?
I don't.
Okay, and here he couldn't finish the sentence. I don't. So the mind and most people are honest, and I would suspect that Higgins, generally speaking, before this incident was honest or is honest. And so we struggle to lie. And as a result of that, we minimize or we avoid. Very rarely does the person lie through outright commission, in other words, a blatant lie, partly because we avoid getting caught in the lie, and partly because the unconscious mind just doesn't want to. And so it comes out in the linguistics as avoidance.
You will agree that some of your closest friends are some of the more powerful people in Canton in terms of politics and law enforcement, right?
Objection.
Ask it differently.
At that same retirement dinner, there were members of the DA's office there, correct?
Yes,
Matter of fact, the DA, Michael Morrissey, was there.
I believe he was at one point.
All right. And that was the same event that you gave either a keynote.
So we already have a pattern with Higgins where nearly everything is I believe or probably. So we're seeing language where he's putting optionality in front. So we put in a deceptive marker as a result of that. Doesn't necessarily mean it's deceptive, but we recognize and we keep a lookout for, is this going to continue? This could have been, might have been, I believe type of pattern.
Speech or some sort of a speech for Chief Berkowitz's retirement. Is that right?
Yes.
How long have you known Brian Albert specifically?
I think I had some interaction with him when I was.
Okay, so we're starting to see, I think, I believe. So we're starting to see the pattern, which we don't get in truthful, honest statements as much. If we compare a deceptive statement and an honest statement, in a deceptive statement, we see far more flags along the lines of I think, I believe, probably, but, because, so, well, etc.
On the Cambridge Fire Department in my capacity in fire investigations, and then I would say pretty much through my entire career at ATF.
And it's because if the person knows they're going to be deceptive on the stand, the brain struggles between what should be deceptive and what should be the truth. So always the unconscious puts in these deceptive markers.
I came into contact with Brian.
Give me a number of years.
Well, I've been with ATF now for 15 years. I've probably known him at least that whole time.
You'd say that you have both a social and professional working relationship with him?
So in a truthful statement, there's no need for the probably, but the words are being chosen by the broca area of the brain unconsciously. And if he's decided he's going to be deceptive, then these sorts of words appear unnecessarily. He doesn't necessarily choose how to be deceptive.
I would say yes, he's a friend.
I would say.
Frequently drink together.
So we always look out for I would say, because I would say isn't saying. If you listen very carefully with active listening, his unconscious has chosen to use the phrase I would say, which is not saying I am saying. There is a difference. Subtle, but again, it shows the unconscious is speaking in deceptive language.
I've drank together. I wouldn't say frequently, but yes, we've drank together.
Break bread.
Okay, so I would say, I wouldn't say, but then yes, and then in the end, the truth.
Together, have meals together.
Absolutely, had lunch.
As a matter of fact, you were asked at a prior hearing whether or not you could put a number on the number of times that you've had drinks with Brian Albert, and you said somewhere around 50 or something like that? Or under, actually you said under 50?
Under 50, I think I might have said 30.
I think I might.
And that was in 2 years, correct?
Yes.
So not under 50 in the entirety of your relationship, a 15-year relationship with Brian Albert, literally in the prior 2 years when you gave your testimony in June of 2023, in those 2 years, you met up with him and had drinks under 50 times.
Was that a question?
Yes.
Okay, when we question the question, more times than not, we did hear perfectly well, and we didn't need to discover if it was a question. We knew what was meant by it, even if there wasn't the tonality of the question mark or the exact phrase. We know it's a question. So to ask, was that a question, is slightly aggressive, and also is an attempt to buy thinking time.
Could you rephrase it?
Sure.
And this is probably an experienced witness. So he's using a technique here of question the question and then even a demand to rephrase. Both techniques buy more thinking time.
Is it true that you testified, answer, quote, I mean, in 2 years, I mean, maybe under 50, end quote. That was your testimony to how often you socialized with Brian Albert, correct?
So we socialized more when I started working with his unit.
Okay, so my question is, well,
So there we see the start. I think it was the word was used twice. So we call that sensitive, and we also saw some cognitive stuttering. So combined with the deceptive flags that we already have, his slight aggression, his reluctance to answer, his need to buy answering time, for quite frankly, a fair, it's not exactly a dangerous question, but his brain is in deceptive mode. So almost everything will have a deceptive pattern, even when it doesn't need it. And here we're seeing an example of that.
I don't know the exact number, but yes, we socialized, absolutely.
that's all I was getting at.
Okay, that's fine. I mean, there's no secrets here. He's my friend.
Mr. Higgins.
Okay. Also, what comes out is what's on the top of our mind, and also consciously and unconsciously. So here he says there's no secrets there. In statement analysis and forensic linguistics, we have a phrase called leakage. And this phrase of there's no secrets, we would mark as doubly important.
Let me ask the questions. I get it.
That's fine.
I get it.
And something said in a negative is doubly important as well. So there we have a slight happiness with the battle, and he believes he's won.
You also know Brian Albert well enough to know what his relationship with, for instance, the other guy that you traveled back from New York with, Eddie Hernandez.
I do know Eddie Hernandez. I actually know Eddie the longest out of everybody.
So you knew Eddie, or Officer Hernandez,
Objection,
before you
Your
ever
Honor.
knew.
Ask the question.
So the prosecutor knows something about this guy Hernandez, who he is meant to have traveled back from the memorial and funeral with. And the prosecutor knows something, because it's an innocent question so far. He hadn't even finished the question and the objection came. So what is it that the prosecutor knows about this guy in Higgins that he wants to hide from the jury?
You knew Officer Hernandez before you ever knew Brian Albert.
Yes.
You knew him before you even knew Kevin Albert.
Yes.
And you're aware that there was a physical altercation
Objection,
between
Your Honor.
Brian Albert.
Boom, there it is. A physical altercation. Straight away comes the objection. God, the truth is going to come out. We've got to put a stop to this.
Eddie Hernandez that you're aware of, correct?
The objection sustained.
And the judge doesn't like the truth coming out, in my opinion, either.
Are you aware that Brian Albert had gotten into a fist fight with Eddie Hernandez?
Objection.
Sustained.
Were you at a Christmas
What's wrong with that question? Were you aware of a fight? What's wrong with that question?
party when that happened?
Objection, Your Honor.
Sustained as to that form. You can be specific, though.
Have you ever been at an event with Brian Albert and Eddie Hernandez and seen them fight?
Objection.
Okay, so now he's very specific. So if the objection was over form, now he's very specific. Let's see what the judge says.
Christmas.
So the judge asks for, okay, well, give me a date. So you've been very specific. Now give me an actual date as well. Tricky, hey?
5 years or so before 2022.
Okay, the objection sustained.
And then he does deliver her demand, and then she just sustains the objection anyway. Unbelievable. Because God forbid that the truth comes out.
You do know that Brian Albert has a reputation for being a fighter.
Objection.
Sustained.
You were asked in a formal interview, do you recall, I want to make sure I'm clear about some of your prior statements. You had a formal interview with some folks prior to your testimony at a prior proceeding. You understand what I'm talking about?
I'm tracking.
Okay. At the formal interview, which is what I'm going to call that,
Okay.
the formal interview, you were asked about Brian Albert and his reputation, were you not? Yes or no?
Yes.
You indicated in that formal interview that even Chief Berkowitz was
Objection.
quote, a little afraid of Brian Albert.
All right, so that is the
That is way too close to the truth. Let's shut this down entirely.
objection sustained. That's stricken. I'll see you at sidebar.
Ah, there we are. See it, sidebar. You are not allowed to ask any questions where the truth might come out.
May I inquire?
Yes.
Thank you, Your Honor. You're also relatively close friends. In addition to being close friends with Brian Albert, you're also relatively close friends with his brother, Kevin, correct?
I am.
Kevin Albert is a detective with the Canton Police Department, is that right?
Yes.
And you've worked in the same physical office with him for a number of years?
Physical building.
Physical building, that's a better way to put it.
It's different.
Is that right?
Yes.
And it's fair to say that you've consulted with Kevin Albert on certain of his cases professionally, is that right?
I've assisted.
And you've also socialized with him, shared drinks with him,
Yes,
gone out to bars with him, is that right?
Yes, I have.
It's fair to say that you know the Albert family relatively well.
I would say that I know Brian and Kevin the best.
On January 28th, you drove your Jeep Wrangler to the Hillside Bar to meet up with Brian Albert for drinks, correct?
I did.
You said you drank 3 to 4 whiskey sodas at the Hillside, is that right?
It'd be Jameson and ginger, not whiskey soda.
My mistake. Jameson and ginger, Jameson and...
Okay, so his memory is extremely good when it comes to the Jameson. I wonder if his memory will be very specific on tiny details on this night going forward from this.
Irish whiskey,
It is.
and ginger is ginger ale?
Yes.
Okay. What was Brian Albert drinking?
If I was to guess, a beer.
I don't want you to guess. Do you know what he was drinking?
No, I don't.
He was drinking
He was
something?
drinking something.
Okay, alcoholic.
Yes.
You two were probably going round for round. In other words, finish a drink, get another round for the two of you, finish it, get another round.
I don't think we... No, I wouldn't say we were going round for round.
So he was nursing one beer while you had 4 Jamesons?
Well, it would have taken... Say that again?
He was nursing one beer?
Okay, so we have cognitive overload here. He's worried about the truth coming out.
While you had 4 Jamesons? What you said?
No, he was probably... Maybe he had more beers than I had.
So if we looked at the transcript, which we won't yet, you'll notice the stutter and the structure and the cognitive load breaking the sentence.
Jameson's is more what I would say.
Okay, so maybe he had 5 or 6 beers while you had 4 Jamesons.
I'm not going to put a number on it because I don't know.
But it was more.
More than what?
More than you.
Maybe. He wasn't there that long.
Well, it doesn't take that long to drink a beer, does it? I mean, if you're sort of thirsty and in a hurry.
Is that a question?
Everything I say up here is a question.
Okay.
Just presume.
And it was a question. It doesn't take that long, does it? It was a very, very clear question.
Well, all right. So,
Well, that wasn't, so.
Yes, it was.
Let's, yes, Mr. Higgins, that was a question.
All right, let me put a question mark at the end of that.
okay.
Your memory that Brian Albert had more drinks than you did when you had those 3 to 4 Jameson and Gingers.
To be honest with you, I wasn't keeping track.
Okay, so to be honest with you, when we look at thousands of statements, criminal statements in particular, to be honest with you, more times than not, whatever follows is to some degree deceptive. However, It also means that in a lot of occasions, if somebody says, well, to be honest with you, so we have two deceptive markers there, whatever follows might not be deceptive. It could just be their language pattern or the way that they're speaking or the words that they chose, or they wanted to emphasize that they are being honest. But very often, whatever follows is deceptive. And so we place a flag in when we hear that claim.
He left Hillside and you stayed, correct?
For a short time, yes.
If everything starts to get qualified for a short time, yes. Again, this is following the deceptive pattern. Everything, it's not easy to get an answer out of him. For a short time, yes. So everything has to be qualified and hedged.
You later changed your mind and ultimately decided to go to the waterfall. You finished whatever you're eating or drinking and decided to go over to the waterfall, right?
Yes, because I'm always saying I'm going to show up, and then I kind of do the Irish exit. So I decided it was a long day, it was an emotional day, and I decided to join them.
So when we have a yes, and then because, and then lots of unnecessary information, on the whole, there is normally deception of some sort once we see that pattern, more often than not. Again, deceptive markers or flags don't necessarily mean there is deception per se. So we look for clusters and superclusters of these flags.
Drive your vehicle over there
Yes, I did.
after having as many as 4 whiskeys.
Yes.
Brian Albert, did he drive himself?
Well, I didn't see him. I dropped him off in Boston PD district down there in Charlestown, and I'm assuming he drove back towards that way to meet me.
The difficulty swallowing and breathing, and so what you just heard is a good example of that, again, is a deceptive marker.
He wasn't with
It's
anybody
stress,
else.
basically.
Not that I know of.
So he was drinking at the Hillside bar and then got in his car and drove over to the waterfall as well.
I didn't see him drive over, but I assume that's what he did, yes.
You went to John O'Keefe's house. I'm going to shift gears for a second. You went to John O'Keefe's house at some point to watch the Patriots game on January 16th, right?
Yes.
That was the time when you indicated that when you left, Karen gave you a kiss goodbye, correct?
Yes.
It's safe to say that that was not some hot, passionate, long kiss, but you think it was more than just a friendly peck, correct?
I wouldn't describe it as a peck. I'd describe it as more than friends. It was a kiss.
Well, you did describe it as a peck, didn't you?
When?
When you texted Karen Reed and she said it was just a peck, and then you texted back, I agree.
Figure of speech.
Okay, so when somebody can't give a complete sentence, we put in a deceptive flag. So figure of speech, stand alone as a sentence, means very little. He is expecting us to fill in the blanks. And in forensic linguistics, we don't, if they can't say it themselves, we don't fill in the blanks for them. We're actively listening, but we're not going to fill in the blanks, which, if somebody's being deceptive, one of the techniques is they want you to fill in the blanks, but we don't. So here he hasn't constructed a full sentence, so it's a deceptive flag, and in it goes.
Or the truth, right?
Figure of speech.
After that incident, it's safe to say, we've just gone through a number of them, you exchanged flirtatious texts with Miss Reed, is that right?
Is the incident you're referring to when she kissed me?
No, I'm saying after that. After that incident, yes, after the Patriots game,
Okay, yep.
you exchanged flirtatious texts
We did.
with Miss Reed.
I did.
And that was over the course of a few weeks, a couple of weeks, but just 9 days. Is that right?
So it was between the January 12th and I would say before the 28th, because the 28th she didn't respond, and the 29th she sent that last text that John died.
Well,
Those
actually,
weren't.
You've looked at the text, right?
I have.
You just looked at the last couple of texts.
I did.
The last text that she sent of any substance was January 23rd, right? Almost a
Well,
week.
I think the text,
Almost a
I think the
week.
text on the 29th, John died, there's substance there.
Okay, I'm not suggesting, I'm talking about after you said, well, on
Yeah.
the 28th, right? The text of substance between the two of you, talking between the two of you, not the John died text. That substance ended on the 23rd, didn't it?
I'd have to have the text in front of me to agree with you.
I'd have to have the text in front of me to agree with you. It's an interesting phrase. If he's an experienced witness, one of the ways that he might have learned to put the attorney under pressure is exactly this technique.
I think it's
It's also a great way to buy more time.
right here, Mr. Jackson, right in front of the exhibits right there.
Thank you. May I approach?
Yes.
So the pattern, in case you ever need it yourself, rather than saying no or an outright lie, you say, I would need to see such and such to agree with you.
Thank you. Okay, are you directing me to the 23rd?
I'm directing you to the last page. Just look at everything on it and tell me if that refreshes your recollection. This is the last substantive text about you and Karen before your well.
Yes, it'd be the 23rd at 9:40.
May I?
Yes.
So it was 9 days of texting between the two of you, correct?
I believe so, yes.
And aside from the kiss goodbye, you two never had any sort of physical contact with one another.
Do you mean intimate when you say physical?
Correct.
Yes.
I'm not talking about shaking her hand, Mr. Higgins.
So that's interesting, isn't it? So he questions the question, says yes, and shakes his head.
Well, I want to answer your question truthfully.
I would like you to, too. You didn't have any physical, intimate contact with Miss Reed, correct?
No, I did not.
There was no other hugs or kisses or certainly no sex.
No.
And when she said, I'm glad you came over tonight, in one of those texts that you just read a few minutes ago, she was referring to the Patriots game with John there and a big crowd there, correct?
Yes.
Over the course of that week or so, Miss Reed did explain her feelings about her relationship with Mr. O'Keefe, correct? In text messages.
During the pendency of our communication, she did express,
Right.
yes.
And she indicated that there's a difference between being married to someone and dating someone, etc. We saw those texts. Is that right?
Yes.
She also indicated that in terms of the situation in Aruba, she was upset by that, but it's not that big a deal. Correct?
It was clear to me she was upset.
And she said, I don't care too much about that other girl. Right?
Well, at least that's what she said in text, yes.
That's what I'm asking you. Is that what she said in text, Mr. Higgins? It's not a trick question.
That's what she said in text.
Right. She said something along the lines of, I'm just trying to be realistic. There's cracks in the relationship. It's far from perfect. Is that right?
I think that's something she texted.
All right. And you'll agree that during the course of these texts, you were constantly asking for clarity and explanation from her. Were you not?
During our communication, I did ask for clarity.
Many times.
Yes.
You saw it, correct?
Yes.
And she pretty much wouldn't answer you, correct?
She was non-committal, I would say.
Which is why you were saying in your texts, why won't you answer the question? And she would parry and not answer that one either, correct?
Well, I didn't want to be stuck in the middle of anything.
That's not my question. I'm asking you whether or not she would answer your question about clarity specifically.
She avoided questions about text.
Right. And that was frustrating.
And of course, being stuck in the middle of something and potentially some jealousy and some anger and some frustration might have caused the aggression. And so therefore might have been one of the reasons why some people believe that had John entered 34 Fairview in this aggressive, drunk atmosphere, that there could have been an altercation. And possibly 9,999 times out of 100, it could have been a scuffle, perhaps a black eye or two, perhaps a bloody nose, and perhaps a hangover in the morning and shake hands, and that'll be the end of it. But possibly something went wrong if other drunk people got involved, or there was an accident or a fall.
Because you were very interested in her romantically at that point, correct?
I was attracted to her. I don't know that I would say very interested in her.
You texted things like, "Why did you get my number and reach out?" That's a quote from the text we just read, correct?
I did ask that, yes.
You said, "Now what?" Is that right?
Yes.
You texted, "So now what?" Correct?
Yes.
You texted, "I would hang out," meaning with you,
Yes.
correct? You were showing interest in her.
Yes.
You were showing romantic interest in her.
I wouldn't say it was romantic. I was trying to vet it out.
Well, you weren't seeing if she wanted to go see a ball game with you as a buddy, right?
Not really, no.
No, you were showing romantic interest in her, weren't you?
I was trying to vet out was her interest in me legitimate. It was very normal for me to have that question in my mind. When I didn't initiate this, she did, and I think it was a fair question just to try to find out.
You were showing romantic interest in Karen Reed, weren't you?
I was interested, but I don't think I was at the romantic phase.
Okay. When I say romantic, well, what do you mean by romantic? What's the romantic phase?
Sending somebody flowers?
Dating?
Well, there's a difference between dating and hanging out. I mean,
Well,
it's kind of hard to date somebody when you have a boyfriend.
Mr. Higgins, well, not if both people are dating other people, right? Happens all the time, doesn't it?
Well, I think I asked that question too.
Right. That's not my question. My question is, you seem to have a problem admitting that you had a romantic interest in my client. Is there a reason for that?
I was attracted to her.
Right. Physically attracted.
I thought she was an attractive woman.
Romantically attracted.
I'm not going to go there. No, I don't agree with that.
Of course you're not going to go there, because that would put you in a very awkward position, wouldn't it, sir?
Objection.
Not at all.
So the objection sustained is to the form. You can ask it differently, and that answer will be stricken
I'm
now.
sorry, Your Honor. May I?
Yes.
You were sexually attracted to her.
I was physically attracted to her, yes.
Okay? Sexually attracted to her was my question.
Well, I think in the text I said you're hot.
Okay? So my question again, Mr. Higgins, you seem to not want to answer my question. My question is, were you or were you not sexually attracted to my client?
Yes.
Okay.
The shake of the head and the reluctance to tell the truth.
You were saying things like,
And then the anger for being forced to tell the truth.
what do you want from me? And I want the real deal. Those are your words, correct?
Yes.
And the real deal with you would be to date her, to get involved with her, romantically, correct?
No.
The real deal was what? What did you mean by I want the real deal?
Like a relationship.
What kind of relationship? A buddy-buddy relationship? You just want to go like
The same thing everybody wants, a real relationship.
a romantic relationship, Mr. Higgins?
It's possible.
Okay, so in goes the deceptive flag, and many flags have gone in the minute that I've been quiet.
And she was answering with things like, when you said, now what? She answered, I don't know, correct?
Yes, she did.
When you asked, so now what? She answered, I'm sorry, when you said, so now what? She answered, now what? Correct?
Well, I don't have it in front of me, so I can't agree with you. If I'd like to see what you're referring to.
Well, you just read it about 10 minutes ago. Would you quarrel if
I know, but you're giving me portions of it.
you were given portions of it by Mr. Lally as well,
Okay.
right? Did you text something like, now what? And she responded something like, now what?
I think on one occasion she did, yes.
Okay.
Okay, so I think we can all see where the deceptive flags go, and there was quite a few of them.
And you remember you just read a text where she texted, I'm sorry, you texted, "What do you want from me?" And her responsive text was, "I don't know." Correct?
I think that was one of the texts.
Again, with this theme of her being non-committal, one way or the other. Is that right?
Well, that's not how I would interpret it.
So there's lots of I thinks, stuttering, cognitive overload is constant. This whole section is just flag after flag after flag.
The theme, no.
Well, didn't you just say she was non-committal? That was your word, not mine.
I did, but as I told you, it's been a process of trying to suss it out and see what this was all about.
Right. So when you were sussing it out and determining whether or not you were going to advance this romantic interest, she was sort of non-committal, wasn't she?
Well, not one person advances it. I think that's a joint thing.
When you texted, "You want the real deal," she responded, "It doesn't exist," didn't she?
She did, yes.
And she never once in any of those texts expressed anger or hatred toward John Hickey, correct?
No, not at all.
But in fact, she indicated more of frustration with the immediate family. The kids, she didn't want to have kids.
In its totality, I would say yes.
And then on January 23rd, as you just saw, she just stopped communicating with you altogether, correct?
Until the 29th, yes.
Correct. Do you know what the term ghosted means?
I think I have a general idea, yes.
She sort of ghosted you, didn't she?
I wouldn't agree with that.
That was frustrating to you, that she just stopped communicating, wasn't it?
No, not at all.
You had been moving through this mindset of exploring a romantic interest with a beautiful woman, thought was interested in you, and just like that, it was done, right?
No.
So what communication did you have with her after January 23rd?
Well, she texted me on January 29th.
You keep saying that, but you know what I'm getting to. January 29th was her informing you that a tragedy had occurred. John had died, right? I'm not talking about that, Mr. Higgins, so I don't want to keep playing games.
All right, so that's what we talked about. No more of
Sorry,
that.
Your Honor. After the 23rd, or up to the 23rd, she had been texting back and forth with you pretty regularly. You just saw it, correct?
She also sent me a text with arrows saying the phone works both ways.
And as of the 23rd, she stopped, didn't she?
The texts were sporadic over those 9 days. I don't know if they would have stopped or they would have kept.
So suddenly he remembers all of these texts, whereas he attempted to go immediately to the 29th. So that's deceptive.
Going.
Well, they didn't keep going, did they?
Well, John passed away.
You know they didn't keep going because from the 23rd onto the 24th, the 25th, the 26th, the 27th, the 28th, all the way to the 29th, she never texted you, right?
I believe so.
She didn't respond to any of your texts, correct?
Well, she didn't respond to the text on the 28th Friday.
All right, Mr.
Oh, so suddenly he knows the 28th Friday. So there we are. Let's have a little look at the actual analysis itself. If you've not seen how we do analysis, the first step is the example that you're about to see. And then after this step, we would actually mark up the transcript. So we go through different steps to eventually identify all of the different areas of deception that we think are important. Also, you might notice here, so yes, I am a special agent, yes. So no deception found, direct, clear answer, appropriate commitment. What is your current assignment? Objection, is that something you're free to discuss? And on it goes. Now, I don't know if it's worthwhile running through all of this because we've just, well, perhaps we'll run through a little part of it. The hide the body joke, similar to the joke of, friends help you move, but real friends help you move bodies. That sort of joke. I can imagine the joke was told, certainly from his answer. He couldn't deny it properly. There's nothing in particularly terrible about admitting that a joke was told at a type of, dinner type reception type of thing, if that's what it was. But he wouldn't, because in his mind, being deceptive, he thinks that would look bad. But it actually looks worse to give an unreliable denial. Do you remember we have the I don't recall? Yeah. So this is the first step that we do. And if you look at the other videos on the Veroscope channel, you'll see that after this step, we then go through a further step where we start to refine the analysis and we start to mark up the actual words where we see reasons why, which we would mark up in blue. Or if we see sensitivity in the statement where words are repeated, we would mark those up in pink. Or we might see hedging language, and we would mark those up in gold, etc. And then that allows us to see patterns that we wouldn't normally see, or we wouldn't see as easily if we were just reading it in this black and white style. So I think that brings us to the end of today's analysis, and we'll be covering part 3, I think, tomorrow of Brian Higgins' cross-examination. And we will be covering a lot more of the trial, and we'll be going through each witness, identifying where deceptive patterns exist and where they don't exist. If you want to see an example of in my opinion, truthful statement, then Officer Barros, we've done his analysis of his examination, and in my opinion, that came out as truthful. And you'll see the difference in the markups of the statement, and you'll see very clearly the difference in the linguistics, especially if you've watched 4 or 5 of the Veroscope videos. You should have a good feeling for how deceptive language and deceptive patterns both look and sound. And then when you hear a truthful statement, the contrast is stark. It's the sort of thing that once you know how this works, you start to see deception very clearly. And so it's a useful skill to learn in life, whether it's at work or in personal relationships. If you've come to the end of this video, thank you very, very much. That's a wonderful sign to the algorithm. If you're interested in learning more about this skill, there is a membership program which you're more than welcome to look at and join. And also, if you can hit the notification bell and subscribe so that you don't miss some of the future analysis which we're going to be doing on this case and other cases and new cases as they break in the news, I would be very grateful if you would subscribe or consider subscribing and hitting the notification bell. Okay, have a wonderful day or evening, depending what time you're watching this. Okay, good night from Spain.